Good morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Now, bit of a warning. For those of you who are bothered by seeing something rotating in the screen and it makes you dizzy or seasick or whatever, maybe this particular opening shot is not for you. Or maybe if you're the type of person who is bothered by my rotating and stuff like that, maybe my channel is not for you, because that's what I do. To an extreme, unfortunately, but that's the way I am. I like to rotate and move things around, and at least I'm videoing in 60 frames per second, so that rotation, it should be fairly smooth, depending on what kind of device you're watching on, of course. All right, obviously I came back to the model table yesterday, and obviously we're going to have a rollback. Yeah, we're going to have one heck of a rollback. I think it's about 20 minutes long. The rollback will probably take up most of today's episode. Yeah, because I'm not going to be going out on my e-bike today, that's for sure. Okay, you know, I was noticing this morning when I went around the other side of the model table to do some adjusting of stuff, I was missing the twinkling of my Christmas lights on the other side of the curtains. Yeah. It's funny, only about 5-6 weeks of it, and you suddenly think it's always supposed to be there. Anyway, yeah, I did come back to the model table. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about what I did. I think maybe what we should do is just sort of roll back. We are not going to have a sunrise again today, I don't think. It's cloudy again. I'm a little later getting started. I had a real good sleep last night for a change. Yeah, so you might say I slept in. Okay, let's get going here. Enough about my own personal problems, and let's roll back. Okay, moving along in our manual here this very late afternoon. I was looking at these right here, and I was wondering, do I dare to try and do something with those? Okay, first of all, this one is obviously going to go like that. You know, you can tell by the shape of it. Now this one on the bottom, it's keyed, so that you can't get it the wrong way around. Okay, so this one's going to have to go on here like this. I'm just doing a dry fit. I want to make sure everything fits. But if we get these parts in place, and they do seem to be fitting, this is actually the first time I'm putting them on. This one's a little bit, oh, there we go. It snapped into place, sort of. All right, we're not really seeing these controls anyway. I'm noticing, though, one interesting thing a few minutes ago, and that is that there is a notch here, a notch here, and here, and here, and it seems that each one is a slight different size. I think it's probably so that you can't get the wrong torpedo tubes in the holes. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm guessing that somewhere on the torpedo tube there's something that fits in there. We'll know when it comes time to put that together, but I think we're probably safe right now to go ahead and try and glue these in place. This one here almost doesn't need to be glued in place. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. Okay. No, I don't want to get the glue on this part here, so we're just going to run it around the inside here and just let it sort of wick its way out. It should wick its way all the way around, I would think. Okay, let's try and get it on straight the first time. Okay. I don't think that's going to want to come off. Now this one here, we'll do it the same way. Maybe I should do it back here in case it drips onto the... There, I could actually see it. That's going to glue into place once that melds. Okay, so that part is done. Now I could be wrong, but I think the next thing we have to do is stick the torpedo tubes down in these holes and get everything to match up. Okay, I've got myself a little problem going on here, and you can see where I'm trying to get torpedo tube A into the slot here, and it goes through the hole okay, but where this notch is supposed to go into that slot, or rather the pin is supposed to go in the hole, if you know what I mean, it can't turn. And the reason it can't turn is because I have glued these pipes too close in the wrong place. In other words, it won't turn. You can see here it's coming up against this piece that we just glued in a few minutes ago. So I think what I'm going to have to do is try and pry that loose. See if I can pry them loose and re-glue them a little further down afterwards. And just very carefully here now. Don't want to break anything. It's coming. You know, I'm thinking that maybe, oh, there we go, got it. Okay, now I think this one is loose down here too. Yeah, it is. Okay, now I should be able to turn this. Yeah, there we go. And it should go. Let's just check here now. Yeah, you can see where that's going to go into the slot. Now, the next thing I was noticing is that tube C here is supposed to go in, and this notch right here is supposed to go in right there. But we seem to be having a little bit of difficulty. I tried to make these up before, and it do I have a flashing problem going on here? Is that what that is? Or is that glue that oozed out on me? Because I was pretty sure I cleaned that off. But I guess maybe I didn't do a very good job. So what else is new? I'm just going to try and reposition this off camera. Before I would glue this one in place, which would be fairly easy, I want to make sure that everything is sort of a rattly fit so that I can adjust everything. And I also want to be careful that I don't do a lot of yeah, I'm going to have to re-glue these in a different position, I guess, afterwards, if I don't break them off. No, it should go. Yeah, it should go. It's locked into place there. That's going to be believable, even though we're not going to see it. Because when we view this part, we're going to be viewing it like this. So we can't see all this pipework on the other side anyway, which is really too bad. Okay, I'm going to just work at this off camera a little bit. Okay, it has taken a lot of fiddling here, but I think I've got all of the flanges up against the bulkhead where they're supposed to go, and each one of the little tabs is in place. And my hope here is that this will hold it while the glue is melding. And now I do have a concern, and that is that you see this corner here? You see the way that's sticking out? And it's the same on this one right here. Now, isn't there supposed to be part of the pressure tube go against there? Does that mean that when I try to fit this in place later, this is not gonna want to fit? It just won't. Yeah, it just won't turn in anymore. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to maybe shave that off when the time comes. That's about all I can do at this point. The only other thing I could do would be maybe break these tanks off and try and re-put them in a little bit differently. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, let's get this just a little bit more horizontal here if we can, like that. And we're going to let gravity be our friend, and I think these will go down into place a lot better once we get some glue going on there, and it's going to start allowing the plastic to sort of become malleable. Like this one here, will it go down? Yeah, and I think, if you remember, I think it was in the last episode I was talking about, I was wondering if, and then my thought just sort of trailed off. I was wondering how these tubes were going to stay straight, but I can see now that if the flange is right up against the bulkhead, they will automatically be straight, or reasonably so. But it is interesting to notice that those two little boxes that we painted the controls and everything on, you could just, how would anybody reach those unless they weren't supposed to be controls? They were just sort of some sort of monitor. That might be, yeah, because there'd be no way that you could get your arm down in there. Okay, let's get ourselves nice and straight here. So the gravity's going to be our friend, and then I was going to say bathe this area. I'm going to just sort of maybe flood the glue on so that there's going to be lots to make it mushy. Maybe I'll use the hypodermic needle. Okay, we're going to use the extra thin here because of its melding properties. And I basically only get one shot at this, so I got to get these things to meld straight. I would think that should be more than enough. Now, because I'm extra klutzy in the evening, I think we're going to put the lid back on. Alright, now the idea will be to try and get it to go underneath there and just sort of ooh, got away on me. Well, I guess I can always repaint, can't I? Maybe I'll do this just a little bit different here. Yeah, it seems to be binding. It drawed the stuff in so good, but now to try and get it to come back out, well, something seems to be binding inside there. Well, I guess so much for that idea. Yeah, I can see, I can feel it actually wiggling down into place there. It's getting, you know, where the paint and everything was building up. So I guess we're okay. Now this one here. I've got to be careful I don't break the door off. Oh, I got way too much there, don't I? We're just going to have to let that evaporate. Maybe I could take Tennessee Jim's mini Q-tip here and see if we can absorb some of this. Yeah, I'm going to have to repaint there. That was too bad. Okay. Now, got this other side here. Oh, what did I break? What did I break? Oh, okay. It's nothing really serious. Okay, I'll get that out of there afterwards. It's a little box affair that we're not going to be able to see anyway. All right, now what we're going to need to do is just make sure that these flanges are flush with the bulkhead. Yeah, this one here, we got a problem in that the I think this one's about as good as it's going to get. I think all of them are about as good as they're going to get. If I sort of eyeball down the tubes, they all seem to be lining up. Not like one is extremely crooked or anything like that. So I think we basically got it, except for that one little piece that fell in. Well, like I say, I'll get that out of there, and if I can't glue it back in place, nobody's going to know that it's not in there. Yeah, that's it right there. See if I can maybe tweezer it out. Oh, that's too bad. There's a lot of detail on that, but as I've said 100 times, we're just not going to see it anyway. It's going to be all sort of hidden. I'll deal with that after this is all dried. I think we've got it about as good as we can get it here. I just want to double check. Is this one down all the way here? Yeah, it looks... Yeah, I think it's about as good as we're going to be able to get it. If they are slightly off, I don't think it's going to be noticeable. Okay, enough rotating. Now these are the last of the parts for step 10. And I think what I'm going to do is wait until tomorrow morning to put them on, because this goes in here, and then this other end we have to try and get it to mate down in there, similar to the way this other one is. And there's one on the other side. There's 4 of them altogether. But if I start prying around while the plastic is still soft, I might get something out of place which I presently have in place. Right now I'm quite pleased with the way everything has sort of fallen into place here. So I'll probably be not maybe quite as pleased when I try to mate this thing up with with the hull, but we'll see what happens. I think we did pretty good here this evening. Okay, now why did this plunger jam? Maybe trying to do this on top of the manual is not a good idea. There it goes. Yeah, isn't that the way? It works when you don't need it. It could be that this is an old syringe. I think I did this way back in the Bismarck days. So it could be that the rubber deteriorated on the end of this plunger here. Yeah, I got lots of these. I should get a new one. All right. Now, where are we in step 10? We are got this in here. We just have to put these things on, which we're going to do in the morning. Is there anything else we can do here this evening? I'm not tired at the moment. Should we move on to step 11? Maybe we should move on to step 11. It says make 7. Well, all right. I can count up to 7. Okay, all of these pieces were on the Z sprue, and there's enough of them on the Z sprues to make a total of 12 pieces. I only need 7. I accidentally cut off enough to make 8 here. But the idea is that the pins on this one will match the holes on this one. Needless to say, we've still got a lot of flashing to clean off. And when I'm cleaning off my flashing, I'm going to watch that I don't accidentally cut off something that is actually supposed to be part of the tube, or not tube, but cylinder, like these parts sticking out the top here. Yeah, I'll probably do okay. If I accidentally cut one off, well, I won't tell. You won't tell. Okay, I think I must be getting tired here. It's starting to not make a whole lot of sense. 8:32. We did really good. I think I'm going to probably clean these up tomorrow. Yeah, I don't feel much like doing it anymore tonight. So go and edit out what I've got here, and yeah. All right, we'll see you in the morning. Okay, it is morning. And if you suffered through the rollback, you will remember how this sort of got away on me here, so I'm just going to cover this up a little bit, even though I don't think that this particular area that I'm painting right now is actually going to be seen, but I just want to kind of fill it in here just a little bit here. Feather it out just a little. Now, this right here, it probably will be seen, because this is going to be the side that's going to be facing us. So here's hoping that this is all going to sort of blend back together. I think it will. Once this dries. Okay, now what about right here? Fortunately, the torpedo tube and this bulkhead are the same color. So let's not get it on the end of that little tube there. Now the top of this one here, it might be seen, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be sort of in behind, and I know definitely where I'm painting right now is sort of in behind. So why bother, right, Bill? I don't know. What do we got going on right here? We're not going to see this anyway, but I'm just sort of wondering what happened there. Let's cover that up just a little bit. Okay, as you can see, I've got the sprue connections removed from my air tanks over here. I have to find out what color we're supposed to paint them. I do believe that they might possibly have to be dark like these ones here, but I'm not sure. We'll check the color call out. But before we do that, okay, I think I've pretty much touched up where I want to around in this area. I don't think there's anything else with the real light gray that we should be touching up here. So a couple of these torpedo hatches have to be painted the darker gray, but I think I'll wait with that until I get the rest of these other two pieces on here. I don't know if I'm going to do that little box that broke loose last night or not. Yeah, I'm probably not going to bother trying to put it on it. I think it'd just sort of frustrate me to death for something that is in all likelihood not going to be visible anyway. So, but I'll check it out. I'll see how it goes. It could be that maybe by sort of laying this whole thing over on its side, I can sort of drop it in place, and then maybe with a hypodermic needle or something, get a little bit of glue in there just so that it's going to rattle around. Yeah, this hatch is the right color, and so is this one, but I think this one and this one should be painted to match these two. Okay, let's reposition everything. We'll try and let gravity be our friend here, and try and drop these into place, and then we are almost done step 10. Okay, now it's pretty hard to get this adjusted in such a way that gravity is going to work on both connections, but I think I've got a sort of a happy medium going on here. I'll just see how this is going to fit. I'm going to have a problem with stuff needing to be trimmed? I don't think so. It looks like it's going to be okay. Unfortunately, looks like our little pipe connection here. I'll move this back just a little so you can see it better. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a little bit on the short side. Well, let's get some extra thin down in this one right here, and I've got to turn this so that it's better for me. I know that's being selfish, isn't it? Okay, let's get that sticky. And we'll put some on this one as well. I think it's going to melt pretty good. All right. Now, don't drop it. Okay, here we go. Let's put this in place here. Try and get it down in the hole. Well, it's not going very good. There we go. Yeah, it's just not quite going to match perfectly. And I don't think there's anything I can do about it. That's about as good as it's going to get, just sort of like this. Okay, now I'm thinking if I get some extra thin, a lot of extra thin right here, it will sort of meld this all together so that at first glance it's going to look like it's in the right place. Okay, let's just leave that there now. And it's not going to be a real good glue connection, but if I don't put any extra pressure on it, we shouldn't break that off. Yeah. Okay, according to our color callout here, the tank itself is basically supposed to be the 335, and these bands that are around the outside are supposed to be the 339, which we don't have, and we're using the XF24 instead. I think that what I'll do is I'll just paint the entire tank the 339. I don't know if I'm going to make the attempt to try and do the band around the outside. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, first of all, I got to get these tanks painted the 339, and it looks like somehow they go together like this eventually. And these positioning pins get plugged into the deck. At least that's what I'm getting out of it. But that's not for, you know, a couple of days probably. Anyway, I'm going to set up to sort of get a jig going on here. It could be that I should maybe try and scrape off some flashing where the glue oozed out and stuff like that. Yeah, I think just take out a few minutes and do that. Okay, I did put the extra H11 on. They're both on. Everything's painted over here now. Step 11 was make 7 of these. We've done that. We are done with steps 10 and 11. There's nothing more to do. This piece here, I did try to put it on. It has to go in on the inside there where you can't see anything. It kind of hooks in behind SpongeBob, who we also will never see again. And yeah, we're done step 11. Let's move on here. Okay, steps 12. Now steps 12 need the H4, which I took the liberty of getting about half an hour ago. Okay, just try and get the orientation right here. These pieces here, I was noticing that where they plug in, like right here. Let me get this a little bit more so that you can see them. So I didn't bother doing the seams, scraping the seams on the bottom, because we're not gonna see them anyway. But they go something like yeah, like that. They plug in. Okay. And next thing I got to do, I guess, is paint these things. And I know we did talk about that. What do we got here? 1:45. Okay, I'm going to be getting a coffee visitor at 3:30 again. We're starting that back up. So being as I'm over my whatever it is, and I think I'm going to call it quits for this episode. Once again, I don't know if I'm going to come back at it later this evening. If I do, we'll probably have a rollback. So thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we're going to see you tomorrow.